What is going on, guys? It's Cameron, and today is the day that the brand new Spider-Man Miles Morales series kicks off with issue 1. And I think this is one of the most anticipated comics that have come out of the brand new Marvel universe. So I honestly have to say that there's a lot of expectations for this comic, especially because it's Ultimate Spider-Man Miles Morales. And I think what makes it even greater is that we've got returning artists, we've got returning writers. Brian Michael Bendis is writing this comic just like the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and of course Miles Morales comics and all that. But we've also got the returning artist of Sarah Pichelli. She actually worked on the Spider-Man crossover, she worked on the original Miles Morales comics, and various other things, so it's almost like they're getting a band back together. It's really awesome. Now, really quickly, before we jump into this issue, obviously this is a huge issue, so I cannot forget to do a giveaway. So, of course, to enter the giveaway, guys, this is going to be a physical comic giveaway, and all you have to do is be a subscriber and comment below. Like, literally, that is it. Just leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of the comic or something like that. Tell me that you like the video or something. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to add a little bit of a bonus into this. If you go to the link in the description to my Twitter and follow me on there, I will be giving away 2 digital comic codes for this issue. Now, on my Twitter, I will just be tweeting the codes out. I won't give them out both at the same time. I'll tweet one code and then I'll tweet the other one like later on or something like that. But I will let you know to keep an eye out for it just so that you guys can be ready for it. But yeah, that just seems like a little bit of a fun thing to do, so yeah. Anyway, that is it for the beginning of this review, but I think it's time that we jump into the issue and get into the main part of the video. So without further ado, guys, let's jump into it. Guys, this is just a quick edit that I forgot to say. This issue takes place 8 months after Secret Wars. Okay, so for any of you guys that are subscribed to me and you know what I'm like, you know that I absolutely love the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. Actually, on my channel right now, I'm currently reviewing every single Ultimate Spider-Man issue, so I think it's obvious to say that I have some pretty strong opinions about the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. They are my favourite, and of course that means that I have some high expectations for the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, especially the Miles Morales comics, considering that he took over from Peter Parker, etc. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first picked up this issue, when I first opened the comic, I was a little bit concerned with the artwork because Sarah Pichelli's worked on the very first Miles Morales comics when he first became Spider-Man, and she's worked on the Spider-Man miniseries, and the artwork back then was so much different to how it was now, because for me, the artwork is actually what makes the Ultimate Spider-Man comics the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. So I was a little bit shocked when I saw that this comic's artwork was a little bit, I wouldn't say goofy, but because it really does go with it, you actually do get used to it, and I actually like it now. But I feel it was a little bit goofy, you know, like Miles Morales' face when that girl is walking away from him, like his jaw is just kind of like open to the max. And it just looks a little bit goofy compared to how I'm used to seeing Miles Morales comics, Ultimate Spider-Man and all of that, especially the dad. Now, before I forget, guys, I think it's important to point out that Miles' father knows that Miles is Spider-Man, and so does Gank, and that is it. Miles' mother doesn't know that he's Spider-Man or anything like that, it's just his father and Gank, and that is it. Now, that's not actually addressed in this comic, but they actually had it in like the introduction page on the comic, and that is literally all it said. The only people that know about his identity are his father and Gank, so that's why I didn't include it in this review, because I just figured I'd tell you instead. Now, one thing that I noticed between the parents was they've kind of switched roles in this series. In the original Miles Morales comics, it was Miles' mother that looked after him and was dead nice to him and understood him, and it was the father that was always shouting at him and making sure that he got in school and was always wondering what he was doing, etc. And now in this series, it's almost like they've switched roles and it's the mother that's ringing up Miles, shouting at him, talking about his grades and everything like that. And that's a pretty dramatic twist to take, especially now that they've brought the mother back to life. Actually, I should probably address this, but if I do remember, I think Brian Michael Bendis said that Miles does remember, and that's what this series is about, him fitting into a new universe kind of thing. So, yeah, hopefully that will get explained a little bit better in the future, but as for now, we'll just have to sit put and wait for it. So anyway, getting through the comic, one of the things that I noticed and loved about it was they were very much throwing all of this school stuff into Miles' face. Like, the whole issue was pretty much revolving around Miles slacking on school to be Spider-Man, and you can very much see a Peter Parker in Miles in this issue. He started skipping out of school, and that is exactly what Miles is doing right now because he's Spider-Man. And one of the many things that I loved about this issue was how Miles kind of puts Spider-Man being like an absolute priority in his life. Like, when he's in school, he literally just stands up and says, "Sorry, I need to go to the toilet," and she says no. And Miles completely disobeys what she says and insists on leaving the classroom, and then he just leaves. And I've got to be honest, I thought that was really badass from Miles, because it's almost like he understands how much he needs to be Spider-Man. He knows what kind of role he plays in the city, in the safety of the city and all of that, and that's just awesome. Especially now that Miles is a part of the all-new, all-different Avengers team, so he knows that he's definitely needed. But what we can't forget about is that Miles goes to one of the top academies, like, in the world or something crazy like that. Anyway, before I get carried away and keep talking about Miles' academy, I do want to talk about just how the city responds to Miles being Spider-Man. It's almost like they've accepted that Peter Parker's living in the same universe as Miles now. So there's that Spider-Man, then there's Miles Morales Spider-Man, and then there's Miguel O'Hara Spider-Man 2099. So there's 3 Spider-Men living in the city, and it really seems like the city, like the citizens and the civilians and all that crazy stuff, have all taken to Miles and, you know, like, kind of helped him out. And actually, what I was surprised about was that the citizens actually helped the injured, whilst Miles went off and fought the big bad villain, and I thought that was incredible to see. Now, of course, this is technically an Ultimate Spider-Man comic, and this is still Miles Morales, the character, so the humour is still there in the comic waiting for us. And I have to be honest, I thought it was so funny how Miles questioned himself on whether to pick up Captain America's shield. And the fact that he knew what kind of thing he was doing when he was picking up Captain America's shield was a risky thing. Not because it was a risky thing as in it's dangerous, but just because that is Captain America's shield. So that was so awesome to see. Now, going into probably the one negative thing that I have about this comic is, once again, the comic kind of relies on Miles Morales using his Venom Blast power against the villain. Like, I don't think we've seen a villain ever that is immune to that power. Like, literally, all Miles has to do is use his Venom Blast and he wins. It just seems like that's all it's ever been throughout the entire Miles Morales comics since it started. Every single villain just gets taken down by this Venom Blast. And I just really hope that the comic doesn't rely on Miles saving himself in every situation just by using that power. I think it'll be interesting to maybe get a villain that's immune to the power, that it doesn't affect him or something like that. I think that'll be pretty interesting to see. Now, of course, getting to the end of the issue, we saw Spider-Man Peter Parker. That is Peter Parker, who owns Parker Industries, by the way, standing there looking over the bodies of Captain America and Thor and all that crazy stuff, and just wondering, Miles, what the heck did you do? Now, I don't know whether this means that Peter Parker thinks Miles did all of this, because that demon guy did just disappear. So maybe Peter Parker just turned up at the wrong time and thought Miles beat everyone up or something like that, considering that he is holding Captain America's shield. Now, one of the things that I haven't spoken about yet was the villain was actually the son of Mephisto. Now, in case you don't know who Mephisto is actually the character who broke up Mary Jane and Peter Parker's marriage in the One More Day saga years ago. That is why Peter Parker and Mary Jane aren't married anymore, because of Mephisto. So the fact that Mephisto's son is here is a pretty major thing. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. I hope he's just not a throwaway villain. I hope he's actually utilised in an interesting way. But until then, guys, that is the end of the issue. That is where the very first issue of Spider-Man, the brand new Miles Morales series, ends. And this is a monthly issue, by the way, so the next issue isn't for another month. But I do know that we will be seeing Peter Parker and Miles Morales fight against each other in the next issue, apparently. So I can't wait for that. But guys, what did you think? Let me know in the comment section below. What did you think about this issue? What did you think about my review? If you loved it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you thought. Now, as for the comic, I was actually thinking, like, literally when I first picked up, I was like, this might be a 7 out of 10. But that's before I read it. But now that I've read it, now that I've actually got used to the characters, the gang and Miles Morales friendship is still there. That hasn't been lost. And the art style isn't that bad. I mean, I'm actually liking to it. I'm actually taking to it. So I'm going to edge towards, I'm going to say like an 8 or a 9. But since this is the first issue, I'm just going to straight up give it a 9 because it's only going to get better from here. And artwork isn't everything. Like, sure, it makes the comic, but for me, as long as the story's still awesome and the characters are still there, that's all I need. Now, guys, that is the end of the review, and that is the end of this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. Go to the link in the description to follow me on Twitter. You can also follow me on my Facebook page, where I'll be previewing the next issue of this series, and of course, many other previews if they are released. Like, recently, they haven't really been releasing that much, but I guarantee there'll probably be a Spider-Man issue 2 preview, so you'll get that on there first, so check that out. Don't forget about the giveaways, don't forget to comment below, and of course, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys later.